Ram. Big cheese on a BMX. Mate,
Yeah,
it's fucking badass.
yeah, it's cool. It's different for sure.
It certainly is different. And I mean, I'm gonna have to ask the age-old question. I do apologize, but why and how did you get into it?
Um, so my old man used to be a motocross rider at British Championship level, and I think my mum didn't want me and my brother to get into something as dangerous, and obviously it's a bit more expensive. So sh I think she found a flyer. She took us down to the local track in Exeter. And back
Yeah.
then, like BMX was so old school, so different to what it was today. But pretty sure dad just pushed me around. Like we got old videos. I was about 3. My brother was 4. And yeah, I guess 20 years on, we still do it. Well, for slightly different reasons now, but yeah, just never stopped.
It's sort of badass. You
Yeah,
know,
it's
cycle.
evolved a lot recently.
Why? In what way?
Um, so I'm not sure entirely what year, but BMX was introduced to the Olympics in 2008 on a BMX Supercross format. So in back in the day, early 2000s, and obviously way before that in the 90s and 80s, it was small start hills and dirt tracks and corners, whereas now we go off an 8 meter start hill with big asphalt turns and 40 to 50-foot jumps. Uh, so yeah, it's completely different to what my mum thought was going to be the safer sport.
Let's just backtrack a little bit here, mate. 40 to 50 feet jumps,
Yeah,
and you're on these two little fucking wheelie things with barely any
yeah,
brakes, no gears, and
yeah,
you're just like, right, let's have you.
yeah. It's funny one because there's some jumps out there that are 40 foot, but the way we do our jumps, the first jump at Manchester, I find it so small. Um, so sometimes the bigger the jump, the more comfortable it is for us at the speed we're going now.
What speed would you get up to for the pros?
Uh, I feel like it's somewhere between like 35 to 40 miles an hour, possibly. I think 40
Wow.
miles an hour is something that I hear. They used to have kilometers at races, but I don't really pay attention, to be honest.
Yeah, and there's also
I think
another
it must be
aspect.
about 40. Yeah.
There's also another aspect to it too, right? Like, never mind, like road
Yeah.
cycling. You see the big crashes, and everyone's like, "Jesus, that's a bit crazy, right?" I was like, "Yeah, granted, but they're not jumping, and they're
Yeah.
not going over bloody ramps and like spinning around corners every 2 seconds. Like,
Yeah.
it's you've got to first of all get yourself around it, then get yourself around it as fast as possible, and then not hit into
Yeah.
anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot going on. And I think it's definitely underlooked on how technical the sport is as well. You know, from the gate start is probably the most technical aspect I think of the sport. You never get like I'm constantly trying to get it better. There's very few guys out there that repeat the start every time, make it look perfect. Um, so it's not even just that. Obviously, body position when we jump is important. Just speaking with the coach about being more sort of I don't know forward and aero through the jumps now. It's crazy.
Just got to fling yourself forward, throw the weight forward.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. It's completely different to any other riding, and it's quite funny if you watch a BMX racer go to a skate park or dirt jumps. They normally look quite funny because we're used to going low across the jumps rather than up and down.
Yeah, you just got to lead with your face. What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, that's it. Your head, yeah, your body's going to follow where your head's going. So,
So what aspects are you stripping down in terms of the start, mate? Because I look at this stuff and I'm really like, first of all, impressed as hell. But second of all, I
yeah,
have no idea where to fucking start here.
yeah. So we have a set of lights that go red, orange, orange, green. I think everyone only uses the red light because the gate is so fast now. And you also have a gate call that basically tells you the gate's going to drop at a random point. So you see the lights and you hear beeps, and it's basically you've got to react and time the gate dropping down, and it's whoever can come out the smoothest and the fastest. Obviously, being strong is massive.
Yeah.
That's another thing that I think people undermine is people who don't do the sport go, bloody hell, you're big and strong for a BMX rider. And realistically, the other 60 guys at a World or European Cup are built exactly the same. So it's super explosive.
How long's the race?
30 seconds roughly.
Yeah. Job done.
Yeah.
You know,
So, yeah, I mean, comparable to a track cyclist.
but they have to go for. I mean, what's the fastest event in a velodrome? I'm pleading my ignorance here.
Well, so it depends. Obviously, I live with a sprinter, and they've got all different events. Obviously, they've got the Kieran, they've got the match sprint, they've got just a flying lap because they qualify with a flying lap. But you know, interestingly, like the best track sprinters in the world come from BMX, which I think is a really important part to put out there. You know, Harry Lafrazy's the world champion, Olympic champion track cyclist. He came from BMX. But Jeffrey Hoogland, Chris Hoy, Sinead Reed, they all come from BMX. And I think if you look at what we do in the gym,
Yeah,
you know, we do very similar stuff.
I think that's a really good point to stress. And like somebody who isn't necessarily involved in the fitness scene, like you and I, would look at something and be like, well, how do you train for this? Well, you got to look at the time domain. It's 30 seconds and they're finished. So that is all power. That is just move as fast as you can, and you need a shitload of rest afterwards. Like you are depleted, you know, like the weightlifting style, like the jumps, like the heavy squat, but like the power instead of fucking set to 20. You know, it's like we're not doing a 5K run. It's not happening. It's a different time domain. We don't need that.
It's such an interesting one. It's so can't compare it to anything in my head really, because obviously you've got the element of a sprint down the start hill, but when you jump, you need to be composed, controlled, relaxed, and then when you need pedal, you need to be explosive again. One thing I struggle with is collaborating the both. You know, because if you're too tense and powerful, you become erratic on the bike. The bike's very small and twitchy. So yeah, it's you can see people who have got like a faster twitch, muscle fiber, to people who look like they're not even trying, which is ridiculous. Like you see that a lot in our sport. Some guys are going around and they look like they're just chilling. They're not even trying, but they really are. And other guys are like you can see how aggressive they are on the bike.
I guess that's a flow state, right? Trying to reach that perfect equilibrium and the synergy between the you know, you said you got to glide, you got to fly through the air, and then you got to land perfectly, right? If you land off, it's fucked. It's your race over.
Plus, big time.
You could hurt yourself, right?
Yeah. Well, we just got back from Belgium, and not the best weekend for me, but I was in my quarterfinal on day one. You got top 4 to go through out of 8 guys. I'm sat in about 3rd, and I just completely get a jump wrong. Like mistimed it, landed off to the side of it, and then 2 guys go underneath me, and I'm back to 5th. Realistically, I just cruise around, and you know I'm through to the next round. But mistakes like that do happen in our sport. It's not an unpredictable sport in the sense of, you know, the best riders are the best riders, but anything can happen. It's a bit, wild. You know, you don't know whether someone's going to cut down on you. There's a lot of variables that you can't control. So the sport can be frustrating in that sense. Whereas others, you know, I guess in other disciplines, there's less variables.
Yeah, but even if there is a lot of variables, you've got time to make it up, right? Let's take the, you know, football, rugby, for example. You got 80, 90 minutes. You make a mistake, what? You've got so much more time to then make it up and affect the result of the game. But like 30 seconds, mate.
Yeah, once you've made a mistake, you're done.
It's over.
yeah, for sure.
And that precision brings a whole a whole degree of anxiety, right? And just be like, well, if I get something a fraction, a hair wrong, I could come off the track, I could crash, I could hurt someone, I could hurt somebody else, or I could go from first to fifth.
Yeah, yeah, well, exactly that. That's the worst thing, being in a qualifying position and thinking, actually, it's not about going fast, just don't make a mistake.
Yeah.
That's the idea. So, especially at that top level. I went to a World Cup with my dad a couple of years back. And the first day went terrible. I spoke to him, said, "You just need to chill out." Second day, I literally chilled out. And when you do a good lap, you come back and you're not very tired. You're not, as you know, gassed out. And I was like, "Oh, that was easy. I come second in that qualifying round." Um, Whereas when I was trying too hard and making mistakes, I come back, I was absolutely knackered, and it felt like such hard work.
Mm. It's so strange, isn't it, when we relate it to the discipline of like a physical medium, like a sport, right? Gladiators, modern day gladiators as it is, because it is. It's like fucking Coliseum, that track. We just give you BMXs and be like, I want to see something cool. You're like, okay, hold my beer. And it's
Yeah,
strange because we think about it as painting or the stereotypical artsy scene and be like, well, we've got to find this kind of precision and just let it be what it be. Picasso, not Picasso, the Mona Lisa. Is that Picasso? I don't know. Fuck it. The Mona Lisa's got
I
like a
couldn't tell you.
got like 180 different smiles underneath there, right? It's just that little precision
Yeah,
piece. But now we're now
yeah,
relating it to the body, and we've got to be able to figure out mentally, physically, and do it instantaneously in a discipline which is so fast, right? Again, not 80 or 90 minutes, 30 bloody seconds, like under a minute, significantly under a
yeah,
minute. It's like, well, how do you do that like this without stressing about something too much? Because if you stress about something too much, you're going to come off, right? You're going to try
yeah.
and focus on where you're passing the ball before you've caught it. We used to shout that all the
Mm,
time playing rugby. Like
yeah,
you see it all the time, right? They've got it, they're coming, they've turned the red. Next thing you know, Butterfingers comes out. It's a knock
yeah,
on, it's
yeah,
scrum, you
yeah,
can't focus on the next one. It's literally present in the air, flying at 40 mile an hour. And it's
yeah,
impressive, mate. I think a lot of people don't think about it too much. They just want to see some big lads, big ladies go flying through a fucking track.
yeah. It's yeah. It's when you think about it, you make everything's a split decision
Mm,
that we do, and it's about making that right split decision and hoping it pays off. I think it definitely comes with experience, knowing when to do the right thing, when to ride more aggressive, because it is a contact sport as well. So
really?
it's not illegal to just bump someone off the track or put your elbow in front of someone. But obviously, you're at risk when you do that as well. So it's knowing when to be more aggressive, and when to actually back off. Because something my coach Kyle says at the minute is, to make the final, you don't have to win every race. You just got to come top four in all the qualifying rounds,
Yeah.
which I think is really important. So I know there's a guy on the weekend that won every lap at the final. And it doesn't matter that he won every lap.
Yeah.
If you can just cruise your way through the rounds and make the final, then that's what's important.
Yeah. And if you spend yourself, absolutely blow your wad, trying to
Yeah,
win every lap, and the next thing you know, you come fucking fifth. It's like, yeah, but I won all the
yeah,
qualifiers. I was like, congratulations, you're still not medaling.
yeah, yeah. The contrast is obviously winning every lap builds your confidence.
Yes.
Um, that's it's interesting. We just had a psych meeting the other day about having blue and red brain. I don't know if you've heard about that,
Please
but
go for it.
obviously your blue brain being your conscience and your initial thoughts, who you are, and your red brain is that little sort of voice in the back of your head trying to take over. Um, how you respond to things, that fight or flight. So that was quite interesting. Even before a race, are you in that red brain space where you're thinking, oh, what's going to go wrong? Am I going to come forth in this race? Or are you putting yourself in a position based on who's in the race? Or are you blue brain? Are you thinking, I've just got to go out there and execute what I do, not worry about everyone else?
Hmm. Which one are you?
Uh, well, depends on. um, I'd like to try and be more blue, but red definitely creeps in. Sure, my better weekends, I'm not red brain. I'm definitely blue.
Mm.
But you do have your weekends where those weird thoughts creep in.
Like constant conversation between like the angel and the devil on your shoulder, right? Between
Yeah,
both hemispheres of
100%.
your brain. It's fucking you. It's you talking to that guy in the mirror that just won't stop looking at you. And you're like, can you
Yeah,
just fuck off? Like, and it's strange. It's to get a hold of that thing upstairs, the top 2 inches, right? Games are won and lost in the top 2 inches.
yeah,
That's what one of the first rugby coaches ever told me. And obviously, we were young, we didn't have a clue what the bloody hell he's talking about. And as you get a little older, you're like, actually, it really is like a mental chess match. You've seen that chess slash
100%.
boxing? You've got like a minute playing chess and then you've got a box. I feel like life's like that. I want to play
Okay,
that
yeah,
sport.
interesting. No, I definitely agree. Like if you think about it, football wise, if you're Man City and you come up against Luton, if you're Luton, you're thinking, oh shit, we got Man City, we're not going to win. But if you go into the game thinking like that, you're definitely not going to win, are you?
Yeah.
So um, in our sport, obviously we all know each other, race each other over a lot of years. So you get on the gate, oh, I'm in between two fast starts here. I'm probably going to get cut off. Let's be honest, if you're thinking that way, that's what's going to happen. But those two people on the outside of you could have a really bad start and you could get out well. So yeah, I thought that was a really important meeting actually. And yeah,
It's
definitely.
like you pull the emotional handbrake on yourself, right? And you're like, oh, maybe I'm not gonna, quite make it, or they're gonna get out the blocks faster than me. And it's like you turn off that end 10%, and you can only actually give 90 because you've already told
Hmm.
yourself. On the
Yeah,
flip side, if you give it the old big licks, and you're like, you know what? Yeah, I can roll with the best of them here. You know what I mean? Like we can
yeah,
have a bit of a fist fight with this. You surprise yourself how close you actually are, especially in a short race, mate. Especially in a sprint. Like
yeah.
you're not winning by 30 seconds. You're not winning by
No,
minutes.
yeah. No, I think one thing that I like to try and do at the moment is my coach has told me to the word or an asshole before my race. And that actually is like, yeah, do you know what? You're right. Because if you do that, you come off the track with no regrets. Um, you definitely don't have space to be a pussy. I don't know if I can say that or not.
You can say whatever the fuck you
Uh,
want, mate. Come
yeah,
on.
yeah, nice. Yeah, there's no room for that in our sport, and if you are, then you'll pay for it. So yeah, I like it when he says that to me because then I go out there and I ride aggressive and
Right, aggressive,
it
yeah.
normally pays off definitely more. No respect for anyone.
So yeah, I love that. I love that combination between you having that conversation with the psych about the blue and the red brain, and then also you're right there. You're in the event. You're in the Colosseum, and it's like, right, Ed, stop being a pussy. And you've been punched in the face. You've now got to figure it out, right? And you've got to turn into basically an animal that can fucking ride a bike and jump things for 30 seconds. And you have to forget
Mm,
about everything else. I think the combination of those two is really important when it comes to sport because we need to be able to turn off those like emotions that are like, maybe we shouldn't jump over this at 40 miles an hour. That doesn't sound like a good idea leading with my face. I was like, well, we want the gold medal. So, yes, it is what needs to be done. And then afterwards, you then need to dissect it and be like, right, how can we learn? What emotion did I feel? How can we get better? Then it's the respectful, the thought provoking, the conversations. And I think having those two in one athlete is what makes the best in the world, mate.
yeah, no, definitely, I agree. It's quite a funny one because you can be up on the start and you can watch the race in front of you. You can watch four guys absolutely stack it. One guy's KO'd on the floor, and you've got to get and do your race. Where we've just raced in Belgium, the corners were not the asphalt hadn't been treated properly, and there was a slide out in every corner. Um, and my teammate Matt in his semi-final, he got knocked out on the first jump, and got stretchered off the track, and you've got a race literally on the gate waiting to go, and like realistically, no one on that gate is phased by what's happened.
Mm.
Until you step back and come home, you think, bloody hell, that guy just got carried off on a stretch, and I'm about to go and do exactly the same thing. Like it's just
Yeah, if you think about it, it's a little nuts. You're
yeah,
like, well,
no,
maybe
yeah,
we need counseling. I was like, yes, maybe.
yeah, no, for sure. I've watched my brother get knocked out on that same track, and he had a spasm attack on the track, and went and raced the next day. So it's a mad one, isn't it?
Mental. Well, this
I
is
think for the
why.
most part you get over it, but sometimes there are setbacks for sure. Until it happens to you.
Yeah, and some people never recover from an injury, not because of the physical impact, but because of the mental barrier after it.
Yeah,
Like I knew, like I broke my neck and I broke my skull. Like you could fucking fit your two middle fingers and it sunk 2 inches into my head. It was a little bit crazy. Basically, just
Christ.
mushing around my brain. My IQ is better because of it. Put it that way. It knocked some sense into me.
Yeah, you knock some sense. Yeah, perfect.
But I remember like you, even if it's point one of a second, you're thinking about it every time you're going into a scrum or a tackle. You're thinking about it because
Yeah,
you're
for
like
sure.
you don't want that to happen again. You know, if you
Yeah,
stack it and you get KO'd, you really fucking stack it, right?
yeah.
You're going to be thinking about it, and it's one of those where it's like, well, that line is there as an evolutionary benefit to us to keep us alive. Okay, cool, but how do we like blur it a little bit and scratch it out a little bit so there's cracks, so we can still do the sport that we want to do safely? Yeah, don't bloody kill yourself
Mm.
to do your sport. Granted, but it's I think that's why the psychology and the characters of athletes, man, they're my people, man. They're fucked up. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with that. I don't think anyone that is the top level at BMX is wired up properly sometimes.
No, dude.
I think I've my biggest setback was August last year. I was just I literally travelled up to Manchester from Devon for the last training session before the Worlds in Glasgow, and I had a massive crash on the first jump. Like, but I somehow walked away with just a broken thumb. But that broken thumb actually set me back massively. Um, it was a Bennett's fracture, and I had to have it operated on, put two KYs in. Um, so I didn't get to do any lifting weights for ages, lost a lot of strength upper body. And then I finally got selected to be on the Olympic development squad in Manchester. So I made the move up and I couldn't ride my bike. So this goal of mine to be part of the squad, suddenly I was up here and I couldn't even ride or go to the gym or lift a weight. And there was, definitely times where, I was like, hang on, I'm actually going to be able to hold onto a handlebar because I couldn't even clench my fist.
Mm.
And still now I have problems with the thumb. And obviously that's a big thing of BMX, just holding onto the handlebars. Uh, and obviously the one thing that I need to do every day is go down that start hill and jump that first jump where I absolutely hate shit. So I still have problems with that first jump now, if I'm dead honest with you. It's that, like we spoke about earlier, throwing your body weight over the front of the jump. That is what I was doing. And my back wheel, I cannot tell you, it kissed the landing by a centimetre, and I just went straight over the bars. So for a while, it took me a good amount of time to be able to attack that first jump against with confidence.
The first thing is admitting it, right?
Percent. Yeah, it's a tricky one because even now I sometimes ride and I think, is my left hand actually gripping on as tight as I want it to? Yeah, which is mad. And I'm readjusting my hand. So that was like a bigger setback I've had.
Yeah, maybe don't ask yourself that question when you're in the air.
No, I know. It's a bit of a one when that happens. So,
No,
but I was quite fortunate to have great physios and did all the work I had to get the hand working again and yeah, get back on the bike.
it's fascinating how much you're affected when you have an injury to the thumb. Right, you're
Yeah,
just like,
mad. I
oh,
couldn't believe it.
it's just a fucking thumb. Get rid of it, chop it off. I'll be all right. But you're like, no,
I need that
no.
thumb big time. I couldn't believe it. Like, I was normally well into my gym and stuff, and I couldn't lift a dumbbell for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it wasn't until about 6 weeks ago I properly pressed a dumbbell since August. I could use a barbell a little bit, but I kept having to strap my hand up. And I had to wear a brace on my hand for about 3 months when I was riding. Um, and there were points I was like, oh, is this brace ever going to come off my hand? That's crazy.
Happens,
But
man.
that was the biggest one confidence wise,
Mm.
because I had to get up and ride that first jump. And like, I didn't want to jump it the way I used to anymore.
Mm.
And you've got to be careful not to create a bad habit of not riding how I used to.
Yep.
Normally, I bounce back from injuries quite quick, but this one actually took me a while, a really long time to build my confidence back.
A psychological slap, man. You
Yeah, I
even
think it
get it in the
doesn't
gym.
help as you get older.
No, you don't want to get hurt again.
Nah, I think if I was like 17 or 16, I probably wouldn't have had any confidence problems. But I think I'm 24 now, which probably isn't old to a lot of people, but I think in the sporting world, you get a little bit wiser to, what happens to you when you do hurt yourself. So
Oh yeah, you do, mate. Like things change. Things change upstairs and things change downstairs too, because sport is only getting faster and faster, stronger and stronger, younger and younger. Right? They're just
yeah,
like, oh, we'll just get a
yeah,
16-year-old who's jacked, and then like they're fearless. They will also recover quicker. You're like, fucking hell, man. They're still in school.
yeah,
And then we're questioning. I was like, maybe I kind of want to use my thumb, or my back or my knee
yeah,
or whatever.
yeah. Do I really want to do that again?
Do I really want to do that again? That is a question
Yeah,
that has haunted me for a long time.
yeah. I feel like I've got unfinished business. There's still things I want to achieve, so I think I'll keep trying until I know I've given it my all. But I wouldn't want to quit with regrets.
Oh no,
Um, no, because I've sacrificed a lot to move to Manchester and become a full-time athlete. So I'm definitely going to just see what happens.
beautiful, mate. I got three questions, lad.
Go for it.
What's the greatest piece of life advice you've ever received?
God, wow, that's a good question. Greatest piece of life advice. I think a lot of people, because I was a personal trainer before I moved up to Manchester, is don't regret it.
Mm,
If I didn't take this opportunity, I would have regretted it the rest of my life.
don't regret it.
Yeah, take every opportunity that's given to you.
What's
Give it
the
100%.
worst? What's the worst piece of life advice you've ever received?
Worst. Uh, worst piece of life advice. Yeah, the opposite to that, I guess. I did have people telling me, I don't know why you're doing it. You're not going to get paid very much money. It's a waste of time. About I had about 90% of people telling me, go get it, take that opportunity, don't regret it. And they were actually older people, you know.
Yeah,
I had a lot of clients in the 50s, 60s, and they're like, oh my God, you're so young. And then obviously there's other people out there that, like, really? You're going to go do that? Going to move to Manchester?
great city,
So,
best city.
yeah, it is a good city. I really like it.
Fucking, I've got that documented, love.
No, it is a great city. It's actually probably my favorite city in the UK.
It is the best, but it's uh yeah. Stop it, you'll make me cry. It's home.
Devon's better than.
Oh, get out of here, man. Right, last question. What are the three words you would tell your younger self?
Don't give up.
My man.
Yeah, 100%.
Fuck yeah, boy.
given up a couple of times, if I'm honest with you. Uh, I think because I was always trying to get on the Olympic program since I was 15, and I had a year where I said to my dad, "Let's give it one last shot." I ended up getting a European bronze medal, and that was just like my last year of racing, and I ended up getting a bronze medal. So yeah, definitely, it's that don't give up. Everyone says it, but I was probably the last person in my head I thought was going to do that year. So, and even then, even after that year in 2022, I didn't get selected to be part of the British cycling squad. Another year later, I got selected. So yeah, I definitely don't give up.
My man.
Yeah.
Dude, I appreciate you wanting to talk some shit and allowing me to do this thing again.
Yeah. No, awesome. I appreciate it, mate.
Thank you, brother. And mate, let us know when you're racing. I want to get it on the TV. I want to see some fucking gladiator shit.
I'll let you know. Yeah, for sure.
My man. All right, you have a good time. And I would say we'll ride some push bikes whenever I'm back in the UK, but I ain't doing that crazy shit, mate.
Come my way, mate. We'll get you on the track.
We're gonna hit to the gym together. That's what we'll do. We'll squat. We'll drink some coffee.
And then we can go ride.
Okay, fine, sure. I'm not. I've had too many
Nice one.
concussions. I won't remember it anyway. It's good.
No, you're right.
Brother, appreciate it, man. You have a good day, and I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate it.
My man.
Cheers.
Take it easy. Bye, everybody.